My God, I have no idea.
In 2019, people were spending about $353 billion, and that number is now approaching $500 billion on stuff we don't need. And the global essential oils market is projected to increase in the next decade, even though we have more and more proof that these are not necessary products, but also actively harming the people using them. And when healthcare costs are already going up, it's not a pretty picture. And it's gotten less pretty since that 1994 act was passed. So, for example, in the early 90s, there was like 4,000 supplements on the market. A large market, but certainly not something you can control. Now we have up to 80,000, but truly no idea.
No one knows because there's no like centralized mechanism that people have to pass through, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, we can say there might be 80,000, but because we have literally nobody looking at or tracking any of this, you might think you are talking to a doctor. That's another part of this. The whole supplement market has a whole wing called pharmaceutical grade or medical grade.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really legit when I hear that.
Well, as the Washington Post recently reported, similar to the term natural, those are labels that don't actually have any FDA regulation.
Fantastic.
And specific requirements. A medical or pharmaceutical grade labeled vitamin may be functionally no different than another vitamin that isn't given those labels and sits right next to it on the shelf, but it will be marked up.
In the descriptions of these kinds of things, there's so much couching that's like, this may promote, this may help, right? It doesn't like tell you this cures. It's just like, this can do, this might do.
Yeah, they're sneaky as heck. That is why we need to be as skeptical as possible of all of these kinds of claims. To that end, let's hear one more time from Rebecca Watson, who, despite the fact that she knows none of these alternatives are real, does want to validate your fears about Big Pharma, but not for the reasons you might think.
Big Pharma is real. The pharmaceutical lobby in the United States is horrific. And I hate them. And I have actually been, in my early 20s, I was an activist fighting against the pharmaceutical companies' lobbyists. Even today, as much as I dislike the snake oil salesman, I also really hate what the pharmaceutical industry has done to our medical establishment. And the problem is that, Big Pharma not only owns the real medicine, but they've seen how much money there is to be made in the alternatives. And so they also own all of those hippie organic brands that you see selling homeopathy and vitamins and things like that. Those are owned by the same big pharma companies that you are rebelling against. So not only are you continuing to give big pharma your money, but now you're also getting a sham treatment at best. At best, you're getting something that does nothing. And at worst, you're getting something that, has unintended side effects. So where do you turn? Honestly, in the US, all I can do is say that you have to find a doctor. And to do that, you have to find good health insurance. And it's just so overwhelming. Snake oil salesmen use single studies and tell you that this means that this is going to work for you. A green flag to me is someone who says, look, the preponderance of evidence suggests this and not that. But don't take my word for it. So if somebody is selling something, always be skeptical of that. And if they're just relying on a single study, if they are linking out to studies that don't actually relate back to their product, be very skeptical. With my mom, I try to engage in harm reduction. So she, for instance, told me she was going to see a chiropractor at one point. We both have bad backs, and I wasn't going to stop her from seeing a chiropractor, but I did tell her, like, look, chiropractic can be just as good as physical therapy, but just know that like if he ever goes anywhere near your neck, say no. If he ever tries to cure any disease other than bad back, don't, walk away. And I feel like that hit home for her. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody else is dealing with the same thing. It's okay, I think, to have friends and family who engage in bullshit. The way I look at it is, can they afford it financially and also in terms of their health? If they are going bankrupt on something, that's not good. If they are foregoing real medicine in favor of something else, that's not good. But I'm not going to yell at my mom for taking a multivitamin every day.
Hey guys, it's Chelsea here, and I'm just popping in to let you know about the Society at TFD, our exclusive members-only community available to join here on our YouTube channel, as well as on Patreon. If you want to support TFD and the special projects we work on, like fan favorite podcast Too Good to Be True, we'd love for you to join. Giving to TFD directly is the best way to ensure that we can keep making the content you most want from us. The Society is available both on YouTube and Patreon, and before you ask, the membership offerings are very similar on both platforms, so you only need to join one. Some people prefer YouTube, so join us there. Prefer Patreon? Join us there. And since you guys have been asking for clarification, here's a breakdown of what you guys get for each tier on each platform. On YouTube, our membership tiers are $2.99 and $4.99. For $2.99, you get loyalty badges and moan emojis on YouTube, 40% off TFD digital events, monthly office hours with Chelsea, access to our Discord community, access to our monthly book club, and access to our questions answered by me or guests on the Financial Confessions. For $4.99, you get everything from the $2.99 tier, plus exclusive ad-free videos each month where you can catch me rant about Dave Ramsey, TikTok face, girl bossing, Goop, and so much more. Entire backlog of ad-free bonus videos, 50% off TFD live digital events on everything from $12 workshops to $199 courses, priority access to get your questions answered by me or guests on the Financial Confessions. And over on Patreon, our tiers are $7 and $12. For $7 a month, you get exclusive ad-free videos each month, our entire backlog of ad-free bonus videos, 50% off TFD live digital events on everything from $12 workshops to $199 courses, monthly office hours with Chelsea, access to our Discord community, access to our book club, automatic enrollment in exclusive Patreon-only newsletters, priority voting on the monthly book club selection, and priority access to get your questions answered by me or guests on the Financial Confessions. For $12, you get everything from the $7 level, plus our weekly Ask TFD Anything newsletter, where you get your personal questions answered by the TFD team. No topic is too small or too big to ask. The Society has something for everyone, so click the link in the description of this episode to join us on your preferred platform.
When there is that much money on the line and you can get this much control over people and how they live their lives, that is going to become a political issue and a lever being pulled by specific people. For example, there was a political goal to create a lot of misinformation around COVID and to politicize the basic information that we did have, the way that all information gets politicized. But to a degree that we were platforming as a country a lot of people who were trying to sell stuff rather than having anything to contribute to the conversation. So a lot of the media we saw was people saying, debunked medications work, debunked supplements work, and here's how you can buy it from me, or here's how you can buy things to support these quote unquote causes. And it has had a real measurable effect in what people think. In April of 2020, 31% of Republicans said they had a great deal of confidence in medical scientists.
Wow.
That's a low number. Today, just 15% of Republicans have confidence in medical science.
That is enormous. I cannot believe
it's a big market. If you have a product to push, that's a huge market to push it to, and it's only getting larger.
Well, I think that capitalizes on a subset of people who really get off on this phrase of like what they don't want you to know, right? It's like that there's a underlying conspiracy of people in the know keeping really amazing things from us that could help us age backwards, look prettier, have more sex. But this one little company was fighting the good fight and now serves it to you in this beautifully packaged bottle.
Consumer product.
Yeah.
God, in another life, I could have been so rich. So there's tons of money being thrown around and no political will. And politicians themselves are spreading some of these bad ideas, to manipulate their base.
To keep your eyes shut anymore, because the more you work, the more you do it, the more you realize that you are taking advantage of these people, and you just have to either accept that or leave the business. And I think it's the exact same way with MLMs. I think everybody who gets in at the beginning fervently believes in both the product and in the hope of making money. The data be damned. They're going to do it. They're going to hustle harder. And then you have to see the scam at that point. Once you hit a certain level, you see the scam and accept the fact that every new person you are recruiting is going to lose money and you are going to make money off of them. Like at that point, I feel like it's sociopath or GTFO, So yeah, I really genuinely feel for the people at the bottom level of the pyramid, because they are usually, desperate, or, they're looking for some kind of path in life that isn't tied to our horrible capitalistic system. They're like, oh, I'm just going to sell lipstick to friends and family and I'm going to pay my mortgage through it. They're genuinely full of hope for both the product they're selling and for this like career path that they're on. And either they're going to lose all their money and wise up and leave, or they're going to find success at conning people and they're going to become the con artist. Those are your two paths.
To hear more from Rebecca Watson, head over to youtube.com/@RebeccaWatsonSkepchick. That's Rebecca Watson, SKEPCHICK. I guarantee she's a much better follow than Amanda Chantal Bacon and her weird buckets of dust or whatever it is that she's serving customers.
And she doesn't even have the grace to give us something that like tastes good, like a gummy bear. Apparently these things are just vile.
And you've got trends that have come out of this. Like, have you heard of the blood cleanse?
What is that?
So it's believed by the community around it that it's a regimen of things you ingest in order to get toxins out of your bloodstream so that you can strengthen your immune system or improve your skin health or whatever. But this usually includes not just eating and drinking and exercising in a certain routine, but there's always some other thing you need to buy. So some of the members of this blood cleanse community are claiming that dandelion supplement can stimulate your liver to, quote, remove toxins from the body, or that the burdock root eliminates toxins from your body in general. Again, these are really vague terms. Toxins, eliminate. Yeah. What does that mean?
You can't show someone a toxin under a microscope. You could be referring to lots of different things.
We have a quote from Jonathan A. Dramoff, MD, a hepatologist and professor of medicine at the Yale School of Medicine, said, quote, "The common use of the word detox is much like the word literally. The common use and the expert use are almost opposites."
Wow, I love that.
And blood cleanse is another example. You want to remove toxins from my bloodstream, but not from other places.
Yeah.
Just specifically
just my blood, please.
It's a story that sounds aesthetically right, but if you think about it for more than a few minutes, and luckily social media doesn't give you a point.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, another trend on there: chlorophyll. That's existed for a while. This idea that chlorophyll is in and of itself a huge has huge health benefits.
Well, hello, green juice.
100%. The idea of juice cleanses ties right in with chlorophyll being like one of the secret things in it. Because when you remove the fiber and it's mostly sugar that you're having, your juice cleanse isn't going to have anything to even stack up.
It's kind of funny because when you think about, well, how do plants make food? I mean, the idea of chlorophyll is it's kind of magic. It just takes things out of the air and then it just produces something wonderful that we all need. But that's for freaking plants,
And you
not
can
for
get it
humans.
from a salad.
Yeah,
You do not need
from
to
a
get like
salad.
highly concentrated. If you really believe chlorophyll is somehow going to make you be able to turn sunlight into energy, which it's not, but if that's what you want to believe, why would you get it from the most expensive, dangerous, unregulated source possible?
Because
But-
someone told me on TikTok that I had to.
Exactly. In 2021, there was a viral explosion about chlorophyll and people making tons of claims, and it was this huge trend. And I guarantee that the debunking wasn't as trendy and funny and entertaining and didn't reach as many people as the initial claims. I mean, it can make things that would otherwise sound unpleasant sound more popular because the branding is sticky or entertaining, or it tells you a story really quickly. So some of the terms that fall under that umbrella would be like an internal shower. You know, that doesn't sound great, but certainly you can imagine what they're pitching you. Or like a colon cleanse. Colons make you think of unpleasant things, but a cleanse of something unpleasant.
Yeah, makes it
Sounds
shiny and
necessary.
new. Yeah, it's like a Disney princess is like hard at work with all of her little animal friends.
And honestly, because the claims are so vague, topics like your gut are related to so many different things in your body that it can be a moving target of what it even is supposed to be doing for you. And you know, in an environment where influencers are able to push so many products, they advertise pharmaceuticals like because it works. And if an influencer is saying to you, I've had these results, look at the lifestyle I'm living, you're going to have a very different reaction to that information than a doctor in a cold environment, in a lab coat, in an office somewhere telling you like, we don't have any proof that this works.
Yeah, I need a girl in like a cute haircut and outfit to tell me.
That might be what you need, but the insidious thing about social media is that there is always someone who is the kind of person you would listen to who's willing to take money to say a lie. So if you put enough stuff in a bottle, no matter what hope or fear people have, there will be someone somewhere claiming one of those substances will help them with it.
And when those promises don't end up working eventually, it only drives the same misinformation and distrust that people already had in the medical community, right? Because they're looking at this as a medical product that didn't work for them rather than looking at it as what it is, which is a scam to keep you from going to get actual medical help.
So how are regulators trying to tackle this? Are they even? Is there anything being done about this?
So the U.S. Prevention Services Task Force published a new recommendation last summer that current evidence available is, quote, insufficient to determine the benefits and harms of taking most vitamin, mineral, and multivitamin supplements to prevent heart disease, stroke, and cancer, which is a pretty bold statement. I mean, it gets the ball rolling on the fact that there's no efficacy to a lot of this. But there have been several attempts over the years to pass legislation that could create some kind of regulation over the industry, such as the Dietary Supplement Listing Act of 2022, but they have all failed due to lobbying.
So how can we protect ourselves if the government is not properly doing it for us?
You need to talk to your doctor. If you have a GP, you need to talk to them about any supplements that you're taking. If you end up in the emergency room, you need to be very clear if you are taking supplements or essential oils. And you need to make sure that your prescriptions are compatible with something like that. If you are going to go ahead and take it anyway, even though I'm telling you now, don't take it unless your doctor tells you themselves.
Yeah, no, actually, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I'm on prescription medication for my anxiety, and I didn't even think to ask my GP about like, hey, I'm taking these fish oils. Is there something in there that could be like, you know, counteracting the effects? I didn't think about it.
And if your doctor does give you a test and make that recommendation, if they say you need to supplement because you, for some reason your specific case requires it, you want to look for a United States Pharmacopoeial Convention verified mark, which is a mark that is awarded to manufacturers who went through a stringent application process. The National Library of Medicine has done studies and reviews that have shown that there are liver injuries cases in which you can implicate not just people taking supplements they weren't supposed to be taking, but mislabeled supplements that weren't even what they thought they were taking.
Oh dear, is it like rat poop and what's in these things?
Who knows? If you are in the market for something like an essential oil for aromatherapy or some of their more subjective uses, the Washington Post says, quote, one way to separate real oils from synthetics is price. Essential oils are difficult and expensive to produce and often require large amounts of the plants.
So basically, I think it comes down to, in this particular space, trust nothing. Verify everything. And even just kind of from a personal standpoint, I think it's worth it to dig deeper into why I want something or why I feel like something needs to be fixed. Like if I'm